Welcome to another edition of K-Zip Cooks. I'm Kelsey. Put all the social medias down below. Today we are making banana blueberry muffins, and I'm breaking the rules a little bit and I'm going to add cinnamon to my recipe. It's not in the original recipe, but it's good. Trust me. If you don't like cinnamon, then it's maybe not so good, but I like cinnamon. So we're going to add cinnamon. How have you guys all been? I'm trying to think of the last time I filmed. It's been a while, but I've been making things. I just haven't wanted to film them because I've been trying new things. Like I tried a new type of pasta this last week, and I even blistered my thumb. Go me. So I didn't want to, first time out film it and then not do it well. But I've had a few people email me and say, "Oh, do pasta. So maybe I'll do that later this coming week and make some pasta again. But yeah, we're gonna go with some nice kind of breakfasty food because I happen to have some bananas that need some love. And I don't know about you, but I grew up with like the slightly unripe bananas, and so when they get like this, I don't enjoy eating them. So yeah, we're gonna start with banana blueberry muffins and with optional cinnamon. So ingredients, what you will need are 3 ripe bananas. You can have them fresh like this or frozen. If you're like me and you have like 50 of them frozen in your freezer, you can just pull out a few of those as well. You'll need 3/4 cup of white sugar. You will need an egg, just 1 egg, and we're gonna beat it a little bit before we pour it in. You're going to need 1/3 cup melted butter, which is up here in my microwave right now, so I'll get that out later when we need it. You're going to need 1 cup of blueberries. You can go fresh or frozen. I have frozen ones because it's not blueberry season right now. You will need in here, this is where I've cheated, and I've added 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, but then there's also 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of both baking powder and baking soda. If you want your muffin to be a little bit more of a lighter, cakier texture, you can put a little bit more, about another 1/4 teaspoon of each of those, and it'll brighten it up a little bit. But if you like a denser muffin, just leave it with the 1 teaspoon of each. And then you will also need flour, so 1.5 cups of flour. And that's it. I don't think I forgot anything. It's pretty easy. This is not a complicated recipe, so hopefully you're not bored out of your minds. I'll try to come up with something cheeky to say along the way. But we're gonna get going. This recipe makes 1 dozen muffins. I've preheated my oven this time to 375. You can also, if you don't have blueberries, you can put in like cranberries. If you have frozen cranberries, those go really good. They're a little bit of a tartar kind of zing. You can even put in chunks of apples. I've done chunks of peaches before if you have canned peaches lying around. You can even throw in a little bit of applesauce for a little bit of a denser, moister banana muffin. That's another option as well. Or you can cut out some of the butter and use the applesauce instead. So if you're worried about the COVID-15 that I've been hearing about, that might be something you want to entertain. I personally am not worried about it. I'm trying to get out and go for walks and do home workouts, so I am enjoying food and enjoying butter and all of those things. So I will get out of the way here and we will get started. So we're going to start with our bananas. You don't need to have a KitchenAid mixer or a mixer at all if you don't have one. By all means, as long as you have a fork, or if you have like a little potato masher or a pastry cutter, any of those kind of things will work totally fine. I do have a KitchenAid, so I'm going to use it. So I'm just going to peel my bananas and throw them in. If you guys have your favorite things that you like to do with bananas, we use them a lot in smoothies at our place. We've been messing around with a lot of different flavors. We put Nutella in a smoothie the other day with bananas and it was quite good. But if you have favorite things to do with overripe bananas, I'd love to hear them. Obviously banana bread is a go-to as well. I'm just gonna put these over there for now and put this down. I'm gonna actually remember to lock it this time. So I'm just gonna turn my KitchenAid on here to kind of medium speed. and it's gonna break them all up for me. Once the bananas are starting to look like you're getting the more kind of glistening look to them, you'll know what I mean. I'm gonna add in my sugar. It will also help mash them a little bit finer. And you don't have to be super picky. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. I like mine if there's little banana lumps, because then you get a little bit more of a hit of banana flavor when you're eating your muffins. So that looks pretty good. So I'll take this off here, just so you can see. It's gonna make a mess. Come on. This is me having thought things out. So you can see it's quite juicy, shiny, it's all blended in there together. Now that I have blended in my sugar, I'm gonna, just because it's already quite wet, I don't want my egg yolk to just kind of float around and not get mixed in, so I'm just gonna whip it a little bit into its white, and then I will throw it in to my mix. So I'm gonna let this blend until it all comes together, until you can't see any bits of the egg white or yolk that are separated from your banana. You want it to be fully incorporated. I'm gonna get rid of this. Perfect, so that's all blended in nicely. I'm just gonna check on my butter up here in our mystery microwave. So I melted my butter ahead of time. Ideally, if you, before you're, like when you're first starting to get everything out, if you put your 1/3 of a cup butter in just a, microwave safe container, kids, put it in, get it nice and melted, and then that way when you actually go to incorporate it, it'll still be melted. Like you can, I don't know, I can't turn it and have it not spill. So it'll still be melted, but it won't be so hot, and then you're less likely to scramble your eggs when you add it. So I'm gonna turn my mixer on again now. And then while my mixer is going, or if you're hand mixing, you wanna be mixing, then add your butter in as you go. And I'm just gonna let it drizzle in kind of slowly. Then that way, if it is too warm or anything, this will help prevent. Also, it helps it not scramble the eggs, but it'll also mix in a little bit better than just dumping it all in one go. So that's that. That's the easy part. All right, so that's done. Now I'm going to mix my salt, baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon. And remember, the cinnamon is optional. I like it about 3/4 of a teaspoon is what I find is nice. I'm gonna mix it in with my flour just a little bit, so that way when we mix it in with our wet ingredients here, it gets a little bit more evenly distributed. One thing to be careful with when you're making muffins, or even cakes for that matter, is you don't wanna over mix them. If you over mix the batter, the leavening agent of the baking powder and baking soda, you kind of beat all of the reaction out of it, so then they don't rise as much in the oven. So it's kind of like as soon as it's all mixed in, like as soon as you don't see any dry spots, turn your mixer off or stop mixing around, because at that point we have to add our blueberries. All right, so that's all pretty evenly mixed in. So I'm gonna put this in, I'm gonna put my mixer on again nice, and I'm gonna put it on the lowest setting and just start to toss this in. As I said, kind of as soon as you see that it's all wet and making a mess, I really want to get one of those guards for my KitchenAid. Once everything is blended and wet, I'm gonna up just a little bit. Good. So I'll pull this out just so you can kind of see on here. This is, see if my camera will focus. Of course it won't focus, because why would you want to focus? Doo-doo. Anyways, so we want like a nice kind of evenly blended, not too over mixed. And I'm just gonna scrape down my sides to make sure there's nothing that got left behind. Perfect. All right, so that all looks good. This is probably gonna be the quickest video I've made in a while, and like ever for this channel, because we're almost done already. I'm going to take my blueberries now. Now mine are frozen. Whether you're using fresh or frozen, again, you want to mix as little as possible. With the frozen ones, your batter's going to get really thick really, really fast. So you're going to just kind of let it blitz it around a couple times and then stop it. Same if you had fresh blueberries, you wouldn't want it to keep mixing because you're going to just obliterate them all. You're going to blend them all into like a blueberry mush. So I'm going to dump these in and turn my mixer on really high right away and then turn it off. That's all I get. I'll do once more around. There we go. And then I'll pull my mixer up. So I'm going to scrape this off now. And now before I turn the camera on, what I did is I got out my muffin tin tray and I aligned it with as many liners as I had. I thought I had more. I did not have more. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you oil generously. I find what helps for cleaning them after is if you actually oil the top of your container as well. So if you've made cupcakes or muffins and you've had issues with the top sticking, oil the whole top of your pan as well. So I've stuck those in there. I'm just going to take this out and we're going to fill them up. I have a really fun, I don't know if it's technically an ice cream scooper. To me, it seems kind of small to be an ice cream scooper, but I love it. Let's see if I can find it now first. After much banging about, I found it. So I think it's technically supposed to be an ice cream scoop. It's not super big. It's I would say maybe like 1.5 to 2 tablespoons size. But I like this because it's an easy way to portion it out. So I start by doing like one generous size scoop and I put that in each what would you say? Compartment area that you can put dough in. Until I'm out of practice from filming, because it's been a few days or a week. I feel like I'm not as organized as I usually am. But let me know, you guys, what do you want? I've had a few requests for pasta. I love feedback, so, you know, or if there's things you wish I would try differently or explain or any of that kind of stuff, let me know. I would love to make it more accessible for you. So here's our tray of muffins. They're going to go in the oven at 375. They take about 20 minutes, and that's about all I have to say. So we'll throw those in and we'll see you in about 20-25 minutes. And welcome back. So these guys ended up taking a little bit more, like 25 minutes before they were done. So just insert, I have it here, toothpick. Just put a toothpick in. If it comes out clean, then you know you're good to go. They should be nice and brown on the top. And yeah, they're still really warm, so I'm not gonna dig into them just yet. But if when they're nice and brown like this, you know that they're good to go. You can cut them in half, put some butter on them, or I really like putting lemon curd on. So I'll have to do a video soon on making lemon curd. Very easy to make. Doesn't need a lot of ingredients or much of the ingredients that you do use, and you get a dozen muffins out of it. So they're a great snack. They freeze really well as well. I often will make a double batch and I'll freeze them. So yeah, I think I need to go make a cup of coffee or tea and have myself a muffin with some butter on. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. If you have any requests, questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks, as one of my professors at university used to always say, please throw them in the comments below or shoot me a message. And thanks for tuning in. Bye.